ploy to enforce athlete curfews. In no sport is the sex myth more commonly accepted than in boxing. Even Rocky Balboa's trainer said that women weaken knees. So in order to answer the question, we brought in two-time heavyweight champion Chris Bird.
For me, having sex before a match, it started back when I was amateur. And then even back then, I realized, well, it doesn't affect me that much. And my wife, who's with me now, she can agree with me also. She was the other part of the act.
I don't think it affects Chris at all, and I've seen that it doesn't affect him. He's always said that he thinks that it's given him a boost.
I was heavyweight champion twice, and I did it before heavyweight title fights. This is something I've always wanted to disprove. I always thought it was a myth.
Chris is going to take the kind of test none of us would have minded in high school. A sex test. Chris agreed to abstain from sex for the week leading up to our test.
Chris, thank you so much for coming in. Now, you've abstained long enough, correct?
Yes, I have. It's been hard, but I have.
So let's get to it. We're going to take your blood, run you through a whole bunch of tests, and we're going to find out once and for all.
All right, let's do it.
Let's do it.
In order to challenge the myth, Chris will undergo a battery of tests before he has sex. To test the Rocky theory that sex weakens an athlete's legs, we measure Chris's pre-sex leg strength.
Go ahead. All right. So that's your highest score, is 1232. All right.
Chris has a pre-sex leg strength of 908 pounds of force. To test the argument that sex hurts a fighter's cardio, we put Chris on the bike.
That's your pace right there. Keep it going as hard as you can, as hard as you can.
Chris registered a peak heart rate of 180 beats per minute. To see if Chris's punching power is affected by sex, he lays the leather on a heavy bag containing impact sensors, specially designed by the U.S. Boxing Association.
Okay. Did some good hits on that one.
A pre-sex impact force from one of Chris's punches is an amazing 1,128 pounds. And finally, we test Chris's blood to measure his pre-sex testosterone level. It measures 325 nanograms per milliliter. That's right around average. If anything changes with Chris's chemistry following sex, we're going to be able to measure it. Some fellas may not kiss and tell, but science sees all.
We're going to send you off. You and your wife, you'll go to an undisclosed location, do your thing, come back and do the same thing.
Yeah, we're going to disprove this myth. Because I know a lot of athletes think I got to abstain from having sex right before a match. I think it doesn't do anything.
Now, the fun part of the test. Chris and his wife head to the hotel to bust a myth. We'll check back later in the show to find out if the sex myth holds up. Oh, the things we'll do for science. Coming up, does sex before the big game affect an athlete's performance? Our volunteers return to the lab, and we'll see if the sex test has a happy ending. This is Sports Science. There's one myth that we still haven't put to bed.
No sex.
I think it's more in the head than anything. Boxers would go a month without having any kind of relationship.
So, is it true? Does having sex before you compete affect your performance? Earlier, two-time heavyweight champion Chris Bird and his wife Tracy shared their lifelong skepticism of the myth.
I was heavyweight champion twice, and I did it before heavyweight title fight.
I don't think it affects Chris at all. And he's always said that he thinks that it's given him a boost.
We put Chris through a series of tests to measure his strength, cardio, and testosterone levels. Then we sent Chris and his wife into the bedroom, and we waited and waited. Finally, our lab rabbits opened the hutch.
Good morning.
So we can complete our test. Let's put this sex myth to rest once and for all.
Chris, how was it?
As great as always.
Was this a 1-round fight, 2-round?
Oh, man, it was more like a 12-round brawl. For sure. I mean, I'm being honest.
So you really did put this to the test.
You know, I hate talking in third person, but Chris Bird always go for the gold medal.
Always goes for the goal. Let's go ahead and run you through the same tests, and once and for all, let's put this myth to bed.
Let's do it.
Jump as high as you can. Really drive. Drop deep and drive hard. Give it everything you got. Drive hard. Drive hard.
Chris's leg strength after sex was actually higher than it was before.
I feel stronger, even more than I was yesterday.
So sex definitely does not rob an athlete of his legs.
Give me everything you got. Give me all the juice. Come on, show what you got in the tank. 1 minute down. Come on, 15 more seconds. 10 seconds. Show what you got. Show what you got. Show what you got.
At a peak of 180 beats per minute, his heart rate was identical. So sex doesn't hurt your cardio.
What is it then?
It's pain.
Okay. So that was 30 seconds.
Chris's punching power actually increased from 1,128 pounds to 1,304. So after 3 of 4 tests, Chris has proven to be just as strong 4 hours after having sex as he was before. Here's how. The carbon dioxide and lactic acid released in the legs during sex is quickly reabsorbed and takes no toll on game day. Sex does put a load on our cardio system, but if you're an elite athlete, that shouldn't matter at all, especially not the next day. Looks like this sex before sports myth might be all above the belt. In our heads. But remember, Chris came in here determined to disprove the myth.
This is something I've always wanted to disprove. I always thought it was a myth.
So what if Chris deliberately gave less effort in the pre-sex tests in order to set the bar low for his post-sex return?
Now, what do you think the chances are that he sandbagged the original test?
Well, we'll find out with the blood test, because that won't lie.
Tracy's right. There's no way to rig your testosterone level. This is the ultimate barometer. And this is the moment of truth. The results are in. Chris Bird's testosterone level before sex was 325 nanograms per milliliter, and his testosterone level after sex, 462. Chris Bird, you're our hero. You've proven that having sex before sports does not hurt your performance. His levels actually went up more than 20%.
When you look at the science of it, it is truly that, a myth.
So Chris Bird proves once and for all, you can be a lover and a fighter. In this edition of Sports Science, we've highlighted some of our most outrageous experiments. Go! The results? Blood, sweat, and broken gear. And one thing we know for sure, to learn more about sports, sometimes science has to get down and dirty. sure to check out every episode of Sports Science. This is where sports and science collide.
Don't put me to the test.